All right, we'll begin with the Daily Graphic newspaper. It's got a picture of President Akufo-Addo and the President-elect John Dramani Mahama on the front page. Both gentlemen in a handshake. It says government will fully support transitional process. President Akufo-Addo assures. We will renegotiate IMF World Bank deals. President-elect Mahama says. Return official vehicles by January 3rd, 2025. Akufo-Addo directs appointees. And economy grows 7.2% in the third quarter. Also, NPP calls on stakeholders to condemn post-election violence. On page 13 about the economy, because yesterday the president said we've returned to pre-pandemic era in terms of where we stand, and it says Ghana's economy grew
in relation to growth.
Exactly. The economy grew by 7.2% year on year in the third quarter of this year compared to 2.2% recorded in the same period last year. That's according to the Ghana Statistical Service. The growth is the strongest since pre-pandemic levels, with the last comparable performance being a 9.1% expansion in the second quarter of 2019. The industrial sector recorded the highest real GDP growth of 10.4% year on year, followed by the services sector at 6.4%, while the agriculture sector recorded a growth rate of 3.2%.
Wait, so did they say that they are the 7.2 that we've achieved is the same as the 9.1 that we achieved in the third quarter before COVID?
No.
So this was just being compared to last year.
It's not the same. So last year around this time it was 2.2.
That was really
it's
low.
an indication that you're going back to the pre-COVID-19 levels.
Okay.
And so it compares to the 9.1.
But that's what I asked. I asked that, are they saying that the 7.2 compares to the 9.1 pre-COVID?
Yes.
And you said no.
That's what he compares it
All
to.
right.
Like the 9.1
Okay.
is actually an indication, because you're looking at 2.2. If you get to 2019, you're looking at 9.1, and so 7.2, far better than 2.2. So,
but still not 9.1.
Still not 9.1, yes.
Right. But we're sort of on our way back to pre-COVID level.
well,
We've turned the corner.
it's not necessarily saying we're on. The president says we are at those levels because he looks at these figures and says, okay, and also in truth, if you look at pre-COVID levels, we're growing around 7% on the average, and so he can look at it and say, okay, we're getting there. But we've been through this before. Post COVID-19, by 2021, when we grew by 5.4%, we're all over the place, telling the whole world that contrary to global growth rate of say 2-3%, we were growing at 5.4%, an indication that we're doing well. And then by the following year, we started growing lower than that. Let's hasten slowly. Okay, we're always in a hurry to say we've done this, we've done that. Unfortunately, sometimes nothing to show.
Two stories on the back page of the graphic. One is about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They've handed over a renovated and equipped boys' dormitory and kitchen to the Tamale Nyoheni Children's Home, located in the northern regional capital, Tamale. And then the Ghana Armed Forces also raising concerns over recent attempt by the public to disarm military personnel deployed on authorized duty to support the Ghana Police Service in maintaining law and order nationwide. So GAF has cautioned the public against such actions, emphasizing that military personnel have the right to protect themselves, innocent civilians, and property.
So you saw the video, right? That particular video that was making the rounds during the election of a man in a sort of white-colored shirt squaring up to a couple of soldiers.
The two guys,
Yes.
the two military guys.
That's right. And one of them had a phone sort of recording what was happening. This guy was squaring up to them. He got intimidating, pushed one of them, he slapped him, and then the guy slapped the guy back, the soldier back. And then these two soldiers grabbed him, and then it all got quite messy, and the public were getting involved and trying to stop one guy from one soldier from raising his gun and all of that. It was messy. It could
Yeah.
have gone very, very, very bad. Because I keep saying that soldiers are not trained in customer service. That's not their training. In fact, I suspect that those soldiers might actually get in trouble when they get back for even allowing a civilian to slap them back. Not that it's right for a soldier to slap a civilian. It's not. It's not right. But that's not, like, this is not how they are trained. They are not trained to be nice and polite and
Oh,
friendly.
but Kojo, I still maintain. I mean, once they add you to the task force
Well,
and you are
then
out there and
suddenly
you're dealing with
you forget
civilians.
your training?
Oh, I'm sure they will give you some basic training before you go out there. I mean, this is not like.
Well, they're not-
Soldiers are
You are not
programmed.
out there in Ukraine, or you are
Listen,
not in
Mama, soldiers are programmed.
Lebanon or some.
It is
some
something
like
that you have never experienced. Programming. What we get is education, training. Soldiers get programming. They have to have their minds changed to become a person that can kill. You have to have your actual mind changed. So a seminar cannot undo all of the programming that the military has put in your head, so that suddenly you can do customer service.
Well, the programming you talk about is also such that they are programmed to attack external aggression. So part of their programming is that they serve the people of Ghana. And so there are instances you've seen soldiers get out there and would actually advise people and walk away. Not every soldier comes out and the first thing he does is to hit you. That's there. Part of their programming is that you are in to protect the nation Ghana, these people, against external aggression. You're not in there to actually beat the very people that you're supposed to protect. I can understand that, soldiers are trained to kill and all of that, but hey, they also know that they must kill external aggression. And that's why they are sometimes, why are they taking on peacekeeping? Sometimes when it becomes very necessary to maintain peace, they're taking there. And many of them go to these areas. They don't go killing. Anyway, there's a story on the front page of the Daily Graphic that I'm interested in, because it talks about President Mahama says they will renegotiate IMF
the World Bank deals, yeah.
Yes, and that's important because, look, this government went into the IMF deal not willing to engage in expenditure cuts. They went there seeking to increase revenue generation. And so what we may have seen over the period, even though the government indicated they had cut down salaries by some 30%, fuel coupons and all of that, the key aspect of the deal was on increased revenue generation. What a lot of the experts had said was that, why don't you consider expenditure cuts? Because this is a period that people are struggling. But if you see you're looking at revenue generation, so you saw the taxes and everything. Now, once you're talking about removing e-levy, which the last time gave us over 1 billion Ghana cedis, you're going to scrap the betting tax and other things, you'd have to look at expenditure cuts. So it would be important, for instance, to renegotiate the deal. Having said that also, I still submit that in this country called Ghana, as far back as 2014, some investigations by GRA indicated that we lost some 36 billion Ghana cedis at our ports alone. 36 billion. In fact, it continues that under invoicing amounted to a loss of some 25 billion Ghana cedis. This is not a country that doesn't have money. Unfortunately, the people taxed with the collection of money sometimes don't collect it. I've had instances where people have seen, companies that have not paid their taxes, but the very people who are expected to go for the taxes go there, and the company that owes sometimes in excess of 15 million ends up paying 400,000 to the states.
Yeah, you see, if this is about a renegotiation with the IMF, I think we all know that with the IMF, the currency you bring is your credibility, right? If you come to them and say, I will do this, or I intend to do that, and they sit with you and agree on the ways in which it's to be done, then it becomes your task of carrying it out. And currently, if this new government sees that there are new ways, there are other ways of raising revenue, and that what this government has agreed to is, not the best way forward, and they want to come and renegotiate the deal, they have to understand that it will still come back to the same old credibility. Right? Now, the MPP, when they came in 2016, they renegotiated with the IMF, right? They came up with different, and they even ended up coming out of it earlier than intended.
They actually extended it by a year.
Oh, no, you're right. Yes, actually, they came out of it later than intended, right? So things change. But, Charlie, we already have a hole. We already have a big hole, and we've spoken to these external creditors and agreed with them that we will pay them in 2 years' time. Mobwa. Okay. But
what do you have
That's
with
the bilateral creditors.
That's right.
That's for Eurobond January.
What
precisely?
I think what you
where is
have
the money to pay
with a new government as we have it, or a president elect, is goodwill. There are a lot of people who
it doesn't
be
pay
willing to have conversations with you.
We're going to be paying, the Eurobond in January. That's something I'm sure the funds are available. They will pay that. But going forward, in every government and what it intends to do, so you have a deal with the IMF. You can now go and say, I want to reduce expenditure. So if you're going to reduce expenditure, some of the tax measures or revenue measures must be scrapped. And around this time, you need the stability. And that's why I agree with those who say that you need a finance minister like Seth Terkper. One who can get things done. He's been there before. He knows how to do it. He would do everything for you, say, in 2 years, then he hands over. Because by that time, trust me, if you have a Seth Terkper, you're not going to spend anyhow. You go according to what you say.
Yeah, because we know that when the NDC went out of government, he was one of the people that they mentioned that he would not allow you to do.
No, not even that. You're blaming somebody. You say, but meanwhile, you say, they didn't create jobs. Why? When they are doing all the things they did, didn't some of them create jobs? Anyway, let's go to the daily guide.
I wonder though, will he pick Seth Terkper? Or does he have other people in mind?
I don't know. Even if I knew, I won't say. The daily guide for this morning says Roman father congratulates Mahama CSOs, commend IGP's anti-violence strategy, don't retain state cars, Akufo-Addo to appointees. You use the car to work. Why do you want to keep the car?
Because they are Ghanaians.
We are Ghanaians.
And that is the life we have all, become accustomed to.
No, I'm happy that, because you see, if you keep these cars, then people start looking for you. And I'm happy that some of the presidential staffers have started, handing over the vehicles.
I'm surprised that this is even a directive. It should be common sense.
You need to tell them.
Reverse illegal declarations, NPP to EC. You have my support for smooth transition. Nanado tells Mahama. And Mahama should invest in youth football, as on the back page. The Finder says,
Ex-MPRA CEO advocates for pension reforms. Economy records 7.2% growth, and we've talked about it. CBG secures historic 350 million Ghana cedis capital for Casapreco PLC.